What's good, y'all? Welcome to the stream. This is Jordan Murray-Wesco. We're gonna be talking on some topics, just what the world is, man. Like, place that we live in, like the essence of nature itself, women, dating, just a really selfish endeavor, selfish adventure. I'm really going into today. I'm just like learning how to life, as I always do, bruh. I feel like that's what life is, bruh. Learning how to do this shit for real. And so I'm gonna pull up just YouTube videos and we're just gonna go through this shit, bro. We're just gonna see what pops up on my recommended because, yeah, I know a lot of man. Look right now, look something right now that I need right now. I just went on a porn binge today, bro. I'll be real. And so we gonna watch this, see what this shit talking about. A porn recover. This one says a recovered porn addict. Let's see. I'm trying to be one of those, man.
Do you think you have what it takes to make like it never even happened happen? Then you belong at the #1 brand.
All right, Matthew.
Hi.
Matthew, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I actually came here from Orange County, California, born and raised. I was born in Anaheim, and I pretty much have been here for the first 25 years of my life. I'm 38 now, and I moved out from California when I was 25, and I went over to Dallas, Texas, and I've been there for 14 years. And just recently, I had moved over to Las Vegas, and I have been there for less than a month.
So you're living in Vegas now?
I live in Las Vegas. So
I got some family living in Las Vegas myself, so that's what's up. You know, my grandpa's out here right now, so cool shit. Las Vegas, it's a place to be. Apparently, another place to develop a porn addiction because I have one in Oklahoma. You can get them anywhere.
Worth, and I make about $20 an hour, and it sounds great.
That's crazy. I make that right now, literally.
Of a vehicle, that's about a fifth. So I was only really bringing home like, $180 to $200 out of my, profit wise into my pocket every day. And if you just think about all the necessary things, if you had a regular job, it would be the same amount of money, $17 to $18 an hour. So it really wasn't really high of a gain. And I still have friend is now married to my brother, and that's a separate story for another time. But I will tell you that she was actually my first girlfriend, and I just pretty much became very obsessed or infatuated as a kid. That was like my first love, so I didn't really know how to be.
Man,
and then I actually had
first loves can get truly dangerous, bro. Them shits can get you eaten alive in this bitch, bro. Real spill.
Did a couple of dating. It was like less than like a month or so. I had another one that was a little longer term, and that was like 10 months. We never worked out, but we actually had been appropriate, pretty respectful about it. And then after that, I met my ex-wife. So none of these girlfriends, other than my ex-wife, knew that I actually had an attraction to disabled people, girls. I actually just always thought it was a thing.
So the attraction to disabled women was long before you were ever in a wheelchair.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the trippy part. That's a twist,
Nah, I'm so done, bro. That nigga right there was attracted to. Y'all just heard that, but bro, this nigga right here had the face of like a kid in a candy store, bringing up the fact that he was attracted to like disabled porn, basically, and he liked disabled women, bro. And this nigga ended up in a wheelchair himself, bro. I am so scared of the universe, my nigga, for these reasons right here, bro. Like, is the shits? Like, what is the criteria, bro? I don't want to meet that at all. This nigga right here trapping himself. What? Nah, bro, just keep going. I'm just jumping through this video.
They have different names for this. It's called devotees, pretenders, and wannabes. So devotees are the ones who are sexually physically attracted to physically disabled people. Where the scrawnier the legs, the better. You get deformities. You got amputations,
Well, I never watched this
gets
shit
really
before.
extreme.
All these streams are is just like a fucking documentation of my dopamine hit. Intersex. What is this? This is a new topic. This could be
Hey,
me.
sorry
This
for
could be me.
interrupting. Isn't that annoying?
Bro, I should have named this.
What if I told you there was a way to get rid
fuck
of...
you, nigga. But I should have named this stream "My Search for Identity" type shit, bro. Real spill.
I was born with inverted testicles, and I had a
Whoa.
micro penis, and also a vagina hole from birth. Always
birth?
compared myself to a Domino's pizza half and half. That's basically how I felt when I had both a penis and a vagina. Since getting
Bro,
the
that
vagina
shit was
closed, I
wild.
just
I'm
tried.
sorry, bro. I'm so judgmental. I'm very judgmental. I need off my mind, bro. I can't hear about that shit. That shit nasty. You can't have both. Gosh, man. Bro, and we just gonna watch. Oh yeah, we gotta watch this shit, bro. Nigga, fuck all the bullshit. These niggas be killing me with this fucking skeptic shit. This shit be killing me. We gotta watch this shit. Ooh, this shit is sweet. This shit right here. So this shit is, I found this shit. It's called Skep Talk, bro. The Line. It's called The Line, and it's called Skep Talk. You can just go to the channel, go to their most popular, and dissect these fucking videos. So basically what their thing is about. Let's try and read the description. See what this shit's about. Did they give a description of what they're all about, man? Nah, man. You kind of just get the gist, man. So their whole channel here is trying to not prove anything. They get people to call them to try and prove to them that God exists, and they debunk it. Real spill through like philosophy, social arguments, and morality arguments. The Line, the people on the Line, the people running the Line channel, basically debate Christians and people who believe in spirituality and God in general, like a higher power even being there. They debate them. But I think honestly, oh yeah, like flat earthers and stuff, like, yeah, look, they debunk a lot of shit. So yeah, like they debunk the Bible. So we used to click one. These hoes be so funny. This nigga, his name, the main dude running it, you see him a lot in the thumbnails, is Matt Dillahunty, or he's on here a lot because he's a big skeptic. And after this, I really want to learn and dive deep into secularism, what that is in general. So let's go. If there's ad, we're muting that fucker and talking over it. Yeah, man. This streaming shit, I'm gonna get used to it. Honestly, shit's pretty different. Not used to this shit. I had him switch or something. No, wait, yeah. Now we locked in. We got a viewer. We need a concurrent viewer. We're manifesting a concurrent viewer right now, guys. Manifesting it. Straight into the bullshit, though.
Andrew in Florida, pronouns he, him, says, we're not animals. Really? We're not?
Yeah, we're not. If you guys are just animals, then why should I take you seriously?
What's their definition of an animal? Yeah.
Lesser being, creature not created in God's image.
What's it called? What the fuck, bro? Just that bullshit, bro. See, I would get myself into these fucking stupid debacle ass shits too, bro. Real spill. Like, I generally would put myself in these fucking debacles. Not debacles. What the fuck? I'm genuinely retarded. I'm genuinely retarded, and I was genuinely brainwashed, bro, into being retarded. And these videos helped me a lot, bro. To like come down to reality and realize the realism, bro. Like, nigga, fuck no. There's no big thing to this. We are just animals, bro. We are living in this animal experience, experiencing these animal emotions, and like we don't know shit about shit, bro. Real spill. Like, closest we can come to understanding is motherfucking. Mm-hmm. Alright, so I have to tap it at as young nigga. Big get the blasting. He's gonna see that. Wow. See what that does. Man, watch out, man. I ain't changing shit. You watching this?
Okay. Well, that's not my definition of animal. It's not science's definition of animal. So why should we take your definition seriously?
Your definition dehumanizes us.
No, I'm a humanist. I'm a secular humanist. I exalt humans over everything, including your God. But my question was,
okay, I fuck with that.
if your definition of animal
if that means
isn't
secular humanist, that's my new philosophy, my new fucking religion. Secular humanism. Like we are genuinely above everything, bro. And niggas be going to that Christianity and God shit and being like, oh, we're beneath, we have to be loyal to this creator. Nigga, what creator, what supernatural creator created us, my nigga? From evolution standpoint, from just life standpoint, we created ourselves, bro. Real spill.
into scientific one, why should we take yours seriously?
Because there's more to knowledge than just science.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Did I ask any question at all about knowledge? I said, why should we take your definition seriously? You have a definition of animal that doesn't match a scientific definition. Why should we care what your definition is? Because if we do this, then now I have to worry about every single person on the planet and what their very narrow definition of animal is. And so your definition means that when you say we're not animals, you're not talking about the scientific definition. You're not talking about science at all. You're just saying we're not lower creatures that weren't created in God's image. We are the creatures created in God's image. Now, if you want to make that claim, then the animal world word is irrelevant. You don't have to call in and say, hey, we're not animals. You should just say, I know that we're created in God's image. And then we'd ask you, how can you prove that?
Okay.
And bro,
Yeah, it's just we Christians get criticized for believing in talking animals in the Bible, but atheists believe in talking animals too.
Yes, because my definition of animal.
yeah, and all these, and Matt Dillahunty and his guests, all they ask for is proof. Whether it's a Muslim, Christian, anybody who believes in just a false belief besides just human logic and what we just know about us, he just asks for proof of their side of the story, and they can never come up with the proof, bro. And it's the funniest shit ever, man. They just get into this highly distressed state, just highly emotional and triggered state about their false god and their false beliefs that their mind generally like seems to collapse, bro, under just a bigger and more open-minded understanding than just a Christian, narrow-minded and very that Christian shit is slavery. That's all I know. So let's get it.
Animal includes human beings, because I'm using the scientific one, which is animals are multicellular eukaryotic organisms in the biological kingdom of Animalia. That's the first line of the Wikipedia entry. I just read it to you. And that means that humans are there. And so some animals, like human beings, can talk. The animals that the Bible says can talk, or that the animals that the non-human animals that the Bible attributes talking to, we have no evidence that they can talk. I've got 130 snakes in the other room. None of them have ever spoken a word. I realize the Bible says serpent, and it may be interpreted differently. But I've also been around a lot of donkeys on farms. They've never spoken. So when people are mocking Christians for believing animals can talk, which I don't advocate for, because I fully understand that if in fact the Christian God existed, He can make an animal talk. It would be completely unsurprising to me that God could make an animal, a non-human animal, talk. But you called in to say, we're not animals, we're made in the image of God. So why not just say, you're here to demonstrate that we're made in the image of God?
Okay.
Because that would genuinely be a much better argument than just making a claim in a statement, which is what mostly Christians do, and warmonger and fearmonger that shit into your head. Which is what Matt Dillahunty doesn't allow anybody to do, which I admire him for, and which I hope to cultivate in my life, a more stable approach to my standpoint and like view on life. Yeah.
So say it.
You're looking for natural methods, natural epistemology. I'll do my balls. I assume you won't take theological or philosophical arguments, right?
I want an argument supported by objectively verifiable evidence. If that takes the form of theological stuff, that's fine too.
Okay. It's an entire. Okay, so I guess here's a good argument. If we see an entire animal species getting extinct, we would just shrug our shoulders. But if we get extinct, we would freak out. We would freak out immensely. So we attribute a higher divinity, a higher value to human beings over animals.
Andrew, did you just say that if we went extinct, we would freak out?
We would freak out about the thought of going extinct.
Sure.
But if other species get extinct, we would just shrug our shoulders. Yeah.
So I don't want to monopolize all this, but my brain is going 1,000,000 miles an hour right now. So when other species go extinct, some of us don't shrug our shoulders. As a matter of fact, some of us work with conservation efforts to try to avoid them going extinct. However, your argument is in no way a demonstration that we're made in the image of God. Your argument is one where we are selfish. Your argument is if we see something bad happen to a non-human, we shrug it off. And if we see something bad happen to humans, we don't shrug it off. But that is about our self-interest. It has nothing to do with whether or not we're made in the image of God. So I'm still looking for an argument that we're made in the image of God.
Okay. I just tried one.
I'm aware you just tried one. Let me ask this real quick. Are you and I animals under the scientific definition of animal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could say so.
Sure. So under the scientific definition of animal, you and I are animals. You have a different context for animal. That is, there are human beings that are made in God's image, and then there are animals that aren't made in God's image. And you tried to present an argument for that, and the argument did not mention God at all, and didn't mention image at all. And so an argument that needs to begin with premises, where there are connecting terms that result in the conclusion, therefore, humans were made in the image of God. In order for that to be the case, humans and the image of God must be the premises in your argument. So if you're going to try to construct an argument to say that we were made in the...
But the way I found Matt Dillahunty was his debate with Jordan Peterson. And man, Jordan Peterson, man, got exposed up there, man, with his debate. But that was just a quick little like peek into it from like a 2-second view of the debate between him and Matt Dillahunty. So we gonna actually like dissect this motherfucker too. Last one, yeah. So I'm really into, I guess I say, secular humanism myself. I don't even know what that means, but we're gonna get into it later. And figure out why I'm into that, just philosophy itself and like viewpoint on life. Um, the greatest God debate in history. Yeah, well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's read this.
Unwrap Optimum's holiday deal before you unwrap those tech toys. Get 1 gig internet for $35 a month. Combine it with mobile and TV for a 3-year price lock.
I thought it would be nice if we started with something quick and easy and simple, like God. In particular, I don't believe there is one, and I have no idea what your thoughts are on it.
You mean on the fact that you don't believe there is one?
I mean just about the subject in general, but I'm happy to hear your thoughts on about what I don't think is, well, maybe.
Well, it's a complicated problem.
Nigga, what the fuck was that silence for, bro? Nigga, that was the most battle of the egos. I can hear that shit through the fucking screen. Ouch, that hurt me. That just shows how insecure I am. Like, with just silence, my nigga.
Problem. And I don't think that we take it with due seriousness. I specifically don't think that the celebrity atheist types, who I actually have a fair bit of respect for, by the way, take it with due seriousness. So I don't think that they take it with due seriousness from a biological perspective or a phenomenological perspective or a literary perspective or a metaphoric perspective. That'll do for starters. I've become convinced that the fundamental presuppositions...
Hate, like, feeling, like, just knowing the room turned on this nigga, bro. Like, bro, this shit is crazy. This is one of my idols, bro. Like, Jordan Peterson, genuinely one of my idols. He shares my name, bro. Some narcissistic shit. I'm like, ego with this shit. Like, okay, this nigga shares my name. He gotta be smart too. Genius shit too. Like, he's talked about semen retention and shit too. And other shit like that. That I was really into and shit too. So, seeing this nigga explodes, man, it's like, oh, I got some fallacies of my own, man. I really gotta deal with. And really, man up. Not in his way either. Of just self accountability and like going with God and shit. What God? That was just me being lazy and going with the flow and getting it exposed like this, man. Leaning on those fucking, you know. And I feel like he is just throwing big words around, bro. Sometimes I feel like these dudes really be doing that. And like, I do know what those words mean, bro. Sorry, I really do.
Of our very functional cultures, or Western cultures say, are nested immovably in a metaphorical substrate. And that when you enter that metaphorical substrate, you're in the domain of religious phenomenology. And I think that not only can you derive that conclusion as a consequence.
Alright, that's cool. So we gonna do this shit with ChatGPT. We gonna, because my dumb ass is really made an excuse to try and be complacent with my shit. What is phenomenology? So first off, it's a philosophical phenomenology focused on direct investigation. So phenomenology directly investigates phenomena that's consciously experienced. Okay, so whatever experience consciously get it, that's what phenomenology studies. That's what's up. So phenomenology, according to ChatGPT and the web and other sources from the web, it's a research method that provides a framework for understanding the meanings and essences of experiences, shedding light on the human condition. So phenomenology is the philosophical movement of directly investigating conscious phenomena that so we can shed light on the human experience, so we can gain more knowledge on it. So phenomenology is a philosophical movement about directly investigating direct human experience in order to evolve its condition, for lack of a better word, increase the value of its condition,
Consequence of deep philosophical thought and literary analysis, but that if you know enough about brain function, you'll also come to the same conclusion. I think you come to the same conclusion as well if you look at.
What conclusion are we talking about? Off bat, it's only 1 minute and 40 seconds is in. You come to this. Oh, okay, my fault. I'm so lost. Yeah, that weed be doing it to me. So yeah, you come to the same conclusion if you look at brain function, that there is no God. That's what he's saying. And due to all the, I don't know, I think he was saying due to literary stuff and philosophical arguments, you can say that there's no God. So he's just exploring this. Let's go.
At the evolution of religious cognition from the perspective of an evolutionary biologist, and not from the position of a evolutionary biologist whose head is addled by the belief that most of human morality was established in the 500 years since the Enlightenment. So that's a start, I guess.
Except, and so you have to bear with me.
Yep.
Because I'm from Texas.
That's okay. I'm from Alberta, It's bigger than Texas, just as bad.
Yeah. So the curious.
Fuck no. This goofball shit, you gotta fuck with it. On me, because Jordan Peterson did just spit that whole long ass spiel, and then this nigga talking about he's from Texas. Slow it down, partner. And if that ain't there's no God, my nigga, we all just humans trying to figure this shit out, and that's that. Let my dog out.
The curious thing for me is all of that applies seemingly, if I'm understanding it, to religious thought, religious tradition, the value of religious identity to individuals. And I don't see that any of it relates to whether or not there is a God or whether or not there's sufficient reason to believe there's a God, which is my sticking point. I'm fully fine with the idea, we'll try and get through this without like raucous applause, but hey, at least I got one.
Yeah, you don't never complain about raucous applause.
Because that's the sticking point for me. I have no problem acknowledging that people derive value from their beliefs, whether or not they map to anything in reality, that they can be inspired and motivated, educated, and enlightened by poetry, prose, metaphor, allegory.
Yeah, and that's no doubt with me too. There's no taking away the value that religion brings through allegory, things like that. I'm definitely with that on Matt Dillahunty. So on this debate, I am on Matt Dillahunty's side. Yeah, I did come in here with a bias on that part of God not being real, which is facts. And Jordan B. Peterson, I ain't going to hear him out throughout the whole time, but I am going to, I already acknowledge that I do have a bias.
But my concern is, having grown up a fundamentalist Southern Baptist, the people who I know and some of the people who are working to enact legislation on behalf of their beliefs are convinced that they have good reason to believe that there actually is a God, not just that it's useful to them.
Well, it's not that easy to distinguish between what's useful and what's real. So I think that that distinction can be made, but it's a lot more difficult than people generally think. And I also think that there's no doubt that there are different levels of sophistication of religious belief. You know, what I see happening in this sort of discussion, say frequently, you know, and again, like I said, I have a fair bit of respect for the atheist types because they spend a lot of time thinking, and that's generally a good thing. You know, I see most of their thinking, however, directed at the fundamentalist types, the fundamentalist Christian types, mostly of the American persuasion, who suffer from the somewhat understandable illusion that the biblical corpus has the same epistemological and ontological status as a scientific theory, when it clearly doesn't. Right? I mean, if you're
Okay, now we're closer to the same page.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a religious thinker, let's say, if you're a serious student of religious thought and a serious philosopher, one of the things you can't claim is that whatever story the Bible is telling is a scientific theory. And that's just self-evident. First of all, like, when was the first scientist? Descartes, Bacon, Newton? Maybe you could chase it back to the Greeks, but no farther than that. And so the idea that whatever the people who conjured up the Old Testament creation account were doing was something akin to scientific theorizing is a mistake that would only be made by people who don't know how to distinguish between different kinds of truth. And so the fundamentalists, like, I feel for the fundamentalists, you know, because what they're trying to do, to give them credit, is to maintain a corpus of stories in which an ethos is based. That would be the Western ethos, in this case of Christianity, because they believe that the ethos is of extreme value. And I also believe that the ethos is of extreme value and that it is nested in those stories. And so...
Thank you, ChatGPT, for letting my dumb ass learn these word definitions. I know what ethos means. I learned this in school, but thank you, ChatGPT, every time, bro. What does ethos mean? So a person's guiding beliefs. Okay.
They don't like to be confronted by the rationalist, atheist, evolutionary types because it blows the foundation of their ethos apart, and they feel that it's worth preserving. And I think, well, yeah, it is worth preserving. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't philosophical problems associated with the manner in which they construct their arguments. But, well, they're still worthy. But it doesn't address the issue. There's a deep issue here that we're not contending with. You know, here's an example. This is, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think so. I just finished, well, I thought about it a lot, you know, and I do try to think about where I'm wrong, because I would like to figure out where I'm wrong, because then I wouldn't have to be wrong anymore, right? And being wrong is actually not a good thing. You fall into a pit if you're wrong.
And this is what I point out in the lecture on skepticism, since you didn't get to see the show, is that being wrong feels exactly like being right. Nobody runs around going, oh, I'm wrong, but I'm going to keep believing this. We all assume that we are correct about a great many things. And it's not so much that being wrong is the thing we're afraid of. I think that being exposed as wrong is the thing we're afraid of.
Well, we're also sometimes afraid of being wrong, because if you're wrong at a deep level, it can really hurt you.
Oh, I agree.
It can really take you apart. And so people don't like to be taken apart. Like if you're wrong about your wife, for example, that tends to be a very painful thing. And that's something that's worth pursuing to try to figure out why that is.
That's why I had the frying pan.
That should make you popular. Okay, so one of the issues that I have, and you can respond to this, is that the let's say the celebrity atheist types, because I actually like that phrase, they don't seem to me to be contending with the real issues. They seem to be going...
What are the real issues?
Dostoevsky, he's a real issue. Tolstoy, he's a real issue. Carl Jung, 20 books and maybe 15 seminars. He's a real issue. Mircea Eliade, Like, there are some serious heavy hitters in the religious phenomenology domain. And my sense so far, I just finished reading all of Harris's books, for example, he doesn't contend with them at all. And it's like, for me, that's like being an evolutionary biologist and not being aware of Darwin. It's actually a big problem. It's not something you can hand wave away. Jung was a mystic. It's like, sorry. He was about as smart as Friedrich Nietzsche.
I think this gets to basically the same point I was talking about before. The thing that you're objecting to, it seems, is that many of us don't want to address the aspects of religion that you find value in, because we're only focused on, perhaps as I'm talking in the show, from a scientific skepticism perspective of, are there valid and sound arguments that would lead one to conclude that a God exists? My answer to this so far seems to be no. And the apologists, the theologians, they keep presenting the arguments, the teleological arguments, moral arguments, and all these things. They have nothing to do with the phenomenology of religion. They have nothing to do with how this impacts people's lives. This is a question of, is it in fact the case? Is it consistent with reality that there is a God? And is it consistent with reality that there is good reason to believe there's a God? That is where the focus is primarily.
Yeah, and it's usually construed as a scientific issue.
Well, it's not so. I would never construe it as a scientific issue, because science can't confirm the supernatural. I mean, we are blocked until somebody demonstrates a mechanism by which we can explore and confirm the existence of the supernatural, and then confirm that it actually can impact the natural world. We're stuck, which is why science relies on methodological naturalism.
You seem to be able to do it with psychedelic drugs.
You seem to be able to do what with psychedelic drugs?
Well, everybody that takes them under reliable settings generally comes back and claims the presence of a mystical experience.
Yeah,
and that seems to be duplicatable and replicable across cultures in labs with multiple different substances, the chemical constituents of which are known very well. It's like it's part of this religious phenomenology. And to me, that's just a set of facts. And we know that people have been using those substances to evoke mystical and religious experiences for, who knows, 150,000 years maybe. Sure. We can at least infer that. And we have no idea whatsoever how much of an effect the use of those substances has had on the metaphysical substrate of our culture. Like, so what constitutes scientific data here is by no means clear. Here's an example of this, for example. So,
well, before the example,
yeah?
As someone who's been high as a kite, I fully agree that people take drugs and report experiences that they describe as mystical or supernatural. Just like people report other experiences as if they were religious or ghosts or whatever. We have no way of confirming that this something mystical or supernatural actually happened. What this is about the language.
Stops people from smoking.
Well, you can stop smoking without any sort of supernatural intervention.
No, not really.
You can't stop smoking without supernatural?
There aren't really any reliable chemical means for inducing smoking cessation.
No. You surely can, bro. And that's the bullshit. That sucks. I was trapped with this nigga, wherever this nigga was in hell, bro. A mind state of like, fuck, spirituality is everything type shit. Fuck out of here. And religion is everything. Like, supernatural is everything. Bullshit. Fucking bucks, man. They got me. They had me duped, man. I'll be real. Appreciate y'all too for watching this, man. This shit crazy, man. If you are in that psychology space, dark psychology, all of it, like, they mix religion in with that shit. Shit is weird, bro. Shit's an ass headspace to be in. Just ass philosophy to be in, man. Let me keep going. That shit just shook me to the core on some free in my life shit, boy. Because I felt like a dark, demonic, like, fucking shit on me, like actual beings watching me or some bullshit. And that's actually pretty scary, bro. Imagine a being watch you all the time. And I kind of felt perverted, bro. Everything I was doing, bro. Let's keep going, bro. I gotta heal from this.
You can use a drug called bupropion. I think that's the one.
Yeah,
it's whatever Wellbutrin is.
Nigga, bupropion, and I'm literally on that drug, bro. I do that. I'm literally fucking prescribed that. So what are you saying, my nigga? Honestly, that's true though. I haven't stopped smoking. That's funny. I have not stopped smoking while being on bupropion. So, but I've stopped taking it. That's why I'm back smoking. What am I talking about? So, Exactly. I stopped and I didn't feel the need to smoke as much. But I will smoke. I don't know how to explain it. Mars. You okay, baby? You okay, baby? You okay, baby? All right, go back in the room, baby. Thank you, baby. Be careful.
Is
that supernatural?
No, you don't need a supernatural effect, but it doesn't work very well. But if you give people magic mushrooms, psilocybin, and they have a mystical experience, they have about an 85% chance of smoking cessation with one treatment. But that's kind of like evidence, you know. It's kind of like evidence.
It's evidence that you can take mushrooms and increase your chance of quitting smoking. But
no, it's not. It's indication that if you take mushrooms and
that nigga right there is so funny to me. You need to calm down, baby. Give me some Wawa. I don't got no milk or juice, baby. I saw it. I really don't. Gotta get some Wawa. Give me water. Over there. Keep going. Keep going. Water. Keep going. You can't. Yeah, water. Good job. Look down. Water. Water. Look, water. Water, water. Yeah. Water. Water. Yay, water, baby. That good for you. That good for you, baby. Wawa. Wawa. Good job, baby. Keep going. Big girl. Wawa. Yeah. That give you some Wawa. Okay? Okay? Told you. That don't got no milk or juice. Wawa. Yeah. That's good for you. It's that one. I want some Wawa. But here's some Wawa for you. I want some Wawa. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
you have a mystical experience, you'll stop smoking because it doesn't work if you don't have
if
the
you take
experience.
mushrooms and you have an experience that you describe as mystical.
Nah, I was gonna say though, before I had to be an awesome parent and just have a good time with my daughter real quick. Fucking yeah, that nigga Matt Delonte, man. He seems like a very clear-headed individual. Like I can trust, bro, for sure. He's a good skeptic. Like he's getting some very valid arguments, man. Like just bro, be human again, bro. Fuck, I just try to think I was God, try to think I was supernatural. To even think your God is crazy, man. Oh man, I could cry. It's an emotional release. I think I don't know, man. Gotta keep going. Not in that God path.
Then you'll increase your chance of smoking. But that doesn't tell me whether or not there was something to this notion that they had an experience that was supernatural in any sense.
Well, it's not definitive evidence.
It's not evidence at all.
Oh, sure it is. Oh, sure it is.
No,
how is it?
Exactly.
Wait a
Thank you,
second.
Matt.
Wait
Nigga,
a
that's
second.
not evidence.
That's
I'm
wrong.
sorry.
Okay.
It is evidence.
No.
So because
bro.
look,
No, he's right.
You want to
This nigga's
speak.
right.
You want to think
I
through
will
this
correct that.
skeptically. Okay. You have a pharmacological substance. It's psilocybin. You give it to people who are trying to quit smoking. The psilocybin doesn't directly have an impact on the smoking behavior. It has to elicit what's described subjectively as a mystical experience. And you can get physiological indicators of that mystical experience. And you might say, well, that's not enough to prove that it's a mystical experience, but you know, you're conscious and I accept that. It's like you accept all sorts of things without being able to demonstrate their validity on every possible objective, with every possible objective criteria. So don't get in too much of a hurry. It's a serious issue. If you give people psilocybin, for example, and they have a mystical experience, not only are they much more likely to quit smoking, which is really something, but they're also much less likely to suffer from death anxiety if they have cancer. Like, that's quite the thing. And not only that, if you test them a year later and they've had
honestly, where does that come from, though? That can just be an internal process in the body going on as a reaction to psilocybin. Nothing to do with a supernatural force doing that to you. A reaction to the plant, a chemical reaction inside your body produced that effect of giving you a different experience outside of your reality. That whole thing of reality and all these things is very religion related. I really want to get away from these words. But yeah.
A mystical experience, which the majority of them regard.
By the way, no more neural knowledge videos. You talking about God and shit. It's over. It's no more. We gotta change our reality, bro. One sip of water at a time, one action at a time, bro. Just go. I just can't believe in any mysticism anymore. Nothing crazy, bro. Just bare human instincts out here. And we are the top thing out here. So fuck with it.
As the most significant one, two, or three experiences of their life, including such things as getting married.
After this video, we gonna look at them fucking weird ass spiritual videos talking about the universe is you and shit and this weird shit. That shit can really fuck with your head too, bro. It's no, man. Real people living real lives, real things going on. You know, even philosophy is dealing with power and things like that. Like, you gotta get back to what we are, and I would say as organism, man.
Their personalities are permanently altered in the direction of more openness to experience and more creativity by a standard deviation. Like, that's walloping effects. So we can't get too much in a hurry about dispensing with all that.
Skepticism, as I repeatedly point out in the show, is not about cynicism. It's not about debunking. And I'm not saying that there is no supernatural and that there is no mystical experience. What I'm saying is, the thing that people subjectively describe as, I had an incredibly impactful mystical experience, whether it comes from taking...
Okay, let me see if chat's actually popping up on the screen for y'all. Genuinely, it isn't. And it's fucking me. You know what we're gonna do, though? Just gonna take that. Do that. Yeah, it should be there. Oh, shit. Bruh, y'all could have been on the screen the whole time, or the dimer, blimer. There y'all are, though. If y'all want to see ourselves on screen, let me do the same thing over there. Yeah, because that shit is not. I was like, where are my people at? Here they fucking are. All right, let me see what y'all said. Hello, dudes. Before we start, what is everyone's pronouns? Oh. My pronouns are he, him. My name is Jordan. I go, oh, that's him. Jordan right there. Or, oh, that's Jordan. That's what he does. That's my pronouns. And Jordan, I believe in God. No, I do not. I do not believe in God. I am a new unbeliever in God. I'm a new non-believer. Do you believe in God yourself, Jordan? No, I really don't. What do you think the point of life is? I think it is to evolve and grow, and just really just to experience it, life itself. Outside of supernaturalness, outside of it, is to experience what life truly is itself, like, and get to that grand truth and experience that itself. Nothing else can be greater, bro. Like, I feel like there's no longer need for the search of knowledge. You have to experience it, your humanness for itself. The human condition is genuinely perfect. It's genuinely all perfect. We are human, bro. Like, there's no more. We solved all the conflict, like, because we are human. It's crazy. It wasn't no supernatural force doing that. That's all I know. I genuinely think it came from the inside, like and not even spiritual wise, not a universe, anything we're connected to. We're humans at the highest level, man, and that's why we're all genuinely. See, look, you said the point of it. Look, you're still searching for a point. That means there's a purpose for this thing. That means it's continually going. This thing that we're on, this experience that we're on, and the point of it is to keep going. I don't know, no God though. Boom, boom, boom. Back to it. What's up, Mr. Grant, and what's up, Kevin Knows? Appreciate y'all for Nas on me for tuning in, man. All right.
A pharmaceutical, whether it comes from attending a revival church service or hearing a particular preacher,
What are y'all
whether it comes
pronouns?
from having a particularly impressive sexual experience, all of those things, that is the subjective description of that, which may be because of limitations in language, that they don't have any other. This is the language that infuses culture, so that we have to use that to describe it. But that doesn't in any way serve to confirm that there is any sort of supernatural realm or any sort of supernatural actor.
Well, it depends on how you define supernatural. Like, look, I get your point.
Okay.
And I'm not claiming that the phenomena of psilocybin intoxication is direct proof for the existence of God. I'm not saying that. I am saying
Although that'd be awesome.
Hold up. Let me go back.
Not
I missed that.
The phenomena of psilocybin intoxication is direct proof for the existence of God. I'm not saying that. I am saying
Although that'd be awesome.
Well, people do report personal experiences of that sort of thing. So it's not completely out of the realm of the experience. But it's also because of the problem of the border between the subjective and the objective. It's difficult to probe deep.
The topic of the objective and the subjective has always been an awesome thing to me. Like, we always put so much opinion, emotion, and feelings on the objective reality we genuinely live in. And I feel like I don't believe in a God, but I believe in an objective reality that we can all, I don't know. Yeah.
Deeply enough to come up with anything definitive.
I haven't formulated that
and I understand
part of
that
my
that's a
thesis
problem.
yet, and like my life purpose yet, for real. And that's why I watch these videos for.
Are you older than 18? We're looking for motivation.
Yep. Let me get back to these to chat. What we talking about, y'all? Me, man. Oh shit. Yeah, man. Just tell your friends about this, man. I'm gonna be doing this more often, you know, with my free time, you know. I found myself just not doing a lot with it, my free time, so here we do it.
Experiential realms where things are qualitatively different to them. The perceptions are different, the thoughts are different, their response to the world is different. They feel that they've died an ego death and transcended their normal mode of perception. Like, maybe that's not part of the supernatural, but then you're starting to define the supernatural pretty narrowly. Like,
No.
did you define a miracle? Like, here, something defies the laws of physics. What's your definition of supernatural?
So there is a natural.
Genuinely, yeah. I feel like that would be my definition of supernatural. Something that defies physics, our natural physics, our natural world. Yeah, exactly. For something to be supernatural, it have to exceed our expectations of this natural world. I have not seen anything in this natural world that has exceeded expectations of this natural world. Like inventions and things like that. I'd say our society was not built from a supernatural force or supernatural beings or entities entering people's minds and giving them grand inventions and things like that to do more of, what's that fucking term by regard, what's his name, a philosopher, but mimicry or something. Mimosas, yeah, mimosas, man, where we humans, our desires of what we actually want are based off other people, other humans, bro. Like, and I'd say the closest thing you can get to a supernatural experience is transcending how you usually do your human experience, like Jordan Peterson is saying, and you know, just seeing outside perspective of the natural world, but that's not even supernatural. You're just seeing the natural at a different way. We got to keep going on to this because that I can see Jordan Peterson's standpoint now, because that's an argument for the supernatural. How can you get that outside perspective? There must be something outside there to give you that perspective outside of the natural world, especially when you do these psilocybin mushrooms. We gonna see, bruh.
World.
Yeah.
And then there are people who make claims that something is not part of the natural world, that it has some external supernatural origin. Those are the claims that I don't see how we can make any sort of epistemologically sound confirmation of. I'm fine with accepting that people have these experiences. I've been, I was, for many, many years, a fundamentalist Southern Baptist, and I remember standing in church and feeling what I would have described at the time as the Holy Ghost, sweeping through me. Now, many years later, I look back at that and I say, why did I describe this particular experience this way? It's a unique experience. It's of the same quality as something you might experience from a drug, or I've experienced similar things from music and drugs and sex, but they're not all exactly the same. And this is kind of the caveat that the believers, for any one of them, would use is, oh, the thing you're talking about, when you had the awesome sex or you were on drugs, that's not the same as what I felt with the Holy Spirit. I felt all of them. The reason I would have said at the time that I had been filled with the Holy Spirit is because everybody around me was saying that too. It's not like I have any sort of any way to demonstrate a causal connection between a Holy Spirit and my experience. It was, I had an experience and I, like everyone else around me, attributed it to the Holy Spirit.
What was the experience like?
Elation, euphoria. I don't think I ever had visions, but certainly it was an overwhelming sensation. You get the goosebumps or hair on your head. And it was, I remember fairly distinctly the first time I had a very similar experience outside of church, because it was from listening to secular music that my church would not have allowed. And then I began to look into things, from far more of a psychological perspective of what type of impact specific music has on people. And a friend of mine, we've had conversations about the cadence of particular preachers, because a Southern Baptist minister will have a different cadence than a Pentecostal preacher, and they'll have a different cadence than somebody else. And I won't put on a performance to it, but we have this intense curiosity as to, are the successful preachers with those cadence in conjunction with the music, are they just tapping into some sort of psychological impact in our brain in order to make us pliable? In the same way that the elevator experiment, where you have everybody face the back of the elevator, and they face the door, uncomfortable, turn around and face the back with everybody else for no reason. They just
Well, you don't want those backward faces to happen,
It would be good. But if we're back to back, I think, anyway.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about that. Okay, because I think this gets to the heart of some of these issues. So let's agree that throughout history and before, people were experiencing a set of transcendent emotions that can be evoked by music, dance, and a variety of other ways. But there's also a profound proclivity on the part of people, for one reason or another, to attribute those to some sort of supernatural agency. Now, okay, so I want to separate from another line of thinking. Okay, so let's just leave that aside. So
why was I on your recommended feed? Because we're meant to see each other as humans, bro. The fuck? No other thing. Oh, come here, Marcy. Sorry, baby, come here. We're meant to socialize. We're meant to freaking have fun, bro. If you match, man, they get wicked, bro. Synchronicities, I guess. A universe, science. You go death for real, bro. You're welcome. Nothing, no God, though. I don't think anything's out of my control either. Ugh. That's sick. The law of attraction sickness and all that fucking spirituality sickness shit would say, I brought you here to my mental. The fuck? You selfish fucking narcissistic prick. How dare you? Nah, we just mad out of chance, bro. You know how that shit go. We humans on Earth, we just meet sometimes, bro. Hey, go in the room, baby. You hear me? Go in the room. Thank you. You hear me, Marceline? Go in the room. Go in the room, baby. Grab your tablet. Grab your cup. Go in the room. I know you want to hang. Go in the room, baby. Go watch your in the room. Thank you. Thank you. You the best, baby. You want that too? Ooh, girl. Ooh. Of course, baby. Of course. Thank you. What? Girl. You know how we rock.
We could think of that as a theory about the origin of religious belief. The experience comes first. It comes along with an implicit hypothesis about supernatural actors behind the scenes eliciting these experiences. Okay, that's in marked distinction to other theories of religious derivation, like Freud's theory, for example, that religion is a defense against death anxiety, or Marx's theory that religion is the opiate of the masses. Right? It's a much more biological theory, the one we're putting forward.
Sure.
Okay, and it seems to me to be a much more credible theory, even though religious movement is obviously.
Yeah,
so
I would think that and all of them influence that come directly from a supernatural being.
Well, okay, so that's what we're going to.
Yeah, religion generally states, yeah, our religion, spirituality, anything like that. States you come from a supernatural.
We're going to pursue though, because
that was funnier than I thought it was. I was just being honest.
Yeah. Well, honesty is often funnier than people think it is.
Boy, don't I know.
So people can have these experiences, and they can be evoked in a variety of ways, and people often find them very valuable, at least in terms of their subjective report.
I agree.
And the psilocybin experiments, and also the large-scale analysis of psychedelic drug users, by the way, also indicate that the use of such substances is generally associated with an increment in health rather than a decrement, which is quite interesting, right? It's not something you'd necessarily expect. So here's a question. Why in the world do the people who have these experiences have the proclivity to attribute them to supernatural sources, like to a divine source? Like what's going on there? Why is that the case?
So best guess, and this is contrary, so this is not let's debunk this and come up. But if we were going to go through potential plausible explanations, to me this is very similar to in the 40s and 50s when people were supposedly abducted by aliens or ran into aliens. They had descriptions of aliens that pretty much were varied and often matched the various monsters that you saw in the movies then. The third kind. Almost all descriptions of aliens being headed, this. The narrative in the culture of aliens converged. Yeah. And people were, this is what I experienced. In the same way that people will, sometimes cameras will catch or a particular lighting effect in a house that is supposed to be perceived as a ghost, as a spiritual, humanoid form. When we, in some cases, can show that that's actually not the case. In other cases, we have no idea what they necessarily saw. But because what people understand about spirits and souls and ghosts is in the zeitgeist of how we think, it's it enters the consciousness as a plausible explanation, even if ultimately there's no such thing as
Yeah,
ghosts.
but that explains why they converge, but it doesn't explain why the initial impetus is the attribution of the experiences to something supernatural, like to something.
Oh.
See, I'm fair enough.
I'm sure that I'm not convinced that necessarily that the natural instinct is to apply it to something supernatural. I think it may be more the case that not only are we pattern recognition machines, but we're the descendants of people who, you know, how you see faces and everything.
Yeah, that's a good hypothesis. That's the,
And so you see faces, or you anticipate that there's something in the bush out to get you, and when you go and actually investigate and you find there's nothing in the bush out to get you, rather than assuming that you might have been mistaken, maybe it's a spirit.
Yeah, the social psychologists call that the hyperactive agency detector.
And the fact that we can be, you know, before we had a good understanding, we still don't have a good understanding of death and the mind and stuff. But if I'm standing here talking to you and I drop over dead, there's a clear, undeniable difference in me sitting here as an animated being and me laying there as no longer there. And so it seems a natural inference that something that about me has left. That doesn't mean that there's actually something about me, like a soul or whatever, that's left. You know, we don't tend to think the same thing when the radio stops working or the television stops working. It's not like the man in the TV has left. It's just off. But it seems that those sorts of natural...
I don't know if you want to use that analogy, because it suggests that whatever's in the TV is coming from an external source. And you're definitely not making that argument with regards to the soul.
Well, the TV station isn't in my living room, so there's at least some external source sending it to there.
Right, but that's exactly my point.
Yeah, that's all I was going for.
You can make a case that consciousness isn't exactly in your head either, even though it's localized there.
In my head, yeah. Me and my niggas. We gonna get you. Real quick though, I'm finna get this thumbnail right. Bruh, this is low quality when I take a fucking picture on my laptop. I'll be fucking real. Shit, real sick. He said, "That's that type shit that you want. Every single time, so I'm gonna slide." Bit kind of fast, I can imagine. Hello.
My mom said if you want, you drop her off to her for a few hours later if you want or whatever.
Okay.
I bet you, what, you don't work today?
No. Today's not Sunday.
Do you go back to your building on Sunday?
Yep.
Me too. But yeah, mom said you drop her off.
I bet. You said that's that type of shit.
Like probably around like 2 or 3
Probably around.
or whenever y'all decide.
Hell yeah. In my room. Nope.
Let me see.
No! Come here, Mars. Come here, baby. Marceline. Mommy on the phone. Mommy. Tasha. The fuck? Marceline. Come here. Peace.
Ahead.
Well, how do you account for consciousness?
Well, I'm not sure that we can account for consciousness.
This is definitely true.
But
yes. See, and that's
I have
another
no reason to think
well, that's
that it's
another,
beyond what the brain produces. The fact that something's mysterious doesn't mean that, well, if something's mysterious...
Consciousness isn't just mysterious. It's like really mysterious. It's the most mysterious thing.
Okay, well,
right?
the fact
it's not like ordinary mysterious.
The fact that something is really mysterious to the point where I think you and I would agree that we don't have an explanation for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if there was something like that, we'll say that it's maybe consciousness. We agree we don't have an explanation, or at least a complete one for consciousness,
or even a partial one.
Okay, sure.
Say. It seems vaguely associated
consciousness
with the brain.
Is really mysterious, and you and I have no explanation for it. As human beings, we're uncomfortable with saying, I don't know. This is something I'm trying to teach people to become more comfortable with, is to say, I don't know. And so when you ask me about consciousness, my answer is, I don't know. But for other people, they're so uncomfortable with I don't know that they posit an explanation that they cannot justify, something is untestable and unfalsifiable, and that is that there's a ghost in the machine.
Hmm.
I can't make that leap because it is entirely speculation without support. It seems intuitively right because of how we view the world. And yet, I would rather say, I don't know, and then continue to explore it, because I worry that by asserting what the explanation is, you stop looking for the actual explanation.
Okay, so you made the case that part of the reason that we assume beings is because there's a being that seems lacking in death.
Hmm?
And that was associated, I had asked the question about why people attribute their mystical experiences to supernatural beings. So we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it was related. So we could say, well, your idea is something like people personify the soul for obvious reasons, and they also have a hyperactive agency detector. And so it's the combination of whatever mechanisms that produce that
Sure.
allow them to attribute supernatural personification to the source of mystical experiences. It's
Sure.
something like that. Yeah, okay. So let me ask you something. We'll get back to that, maybe.
That's fine.
Let me ask you something about consciousness. You tell me what you think about this, okay? All right, so this is how it looks to me. I mean, there's lots of ways of thinking about how people interact with the world. But I think this is how we treat ourselves and other people as we see them acting in the world. And so I would say it's indicative of our deepest belief, because I think belief is associated with action. So the way consciousness appears to me is that it's a faculty, let's say, that confronts possibility. We'd call that possibility, well, sometimes possibility, sometimes we call it potential, like your potential. Sometimes we call it the future. So I don't see us as driven deterministically like clocks, which is apparently, I think, although I've been accused of misunderstanding Sam Harris before, but I think that's the argument that he makes. I see us instead as agents confronting a landscape of possibility. And that what consciousness does is enable us to shape that possibility into actuality. And we do that with whatever it is that allows us to make decisions. I think that our legal system is basically predicated on the idea that that's true. I think that if you treat yourself that way, that works. I think if you treat other people as if that's their basic characteristic and perhaps their value, that you get along with them. And I think that if you organize your society on that presupposition, it appears to be functional. So what do you think about the idea of consciousness as confronting a landscape of possibility or potential? Is there
Sure.
something?
So I don't know that I have that much of an issue with anything in particular that you've said. There's a number of different ways to frame these things so that people can have a better grasp on it. One of the things I know people struggle with is, and we may have to get back to this in a minute, I don't necessarily want to dig on it just a second, but I would love this idea that absent a God, there's no moral authority. This is a fear that many people have. And we're talking about viewing consciousness as, the way you describe consciousness is what I would call our agency.
Okay.
And while I don't think that we have libertarian free will, I'm on record as being a compatibilist along with Dan Dennett. But I also had another discussion recently, so I'm going to clarify it because of that discussion. I'm fine with the idea that we have a will, that we have desires, that we are an agent that is also capable of self-reflection to see what are the consequences of my action moving forward. To me, it does not matter if that is ultimately deterministic, like clockwork, or if there was something that could trump determinism. Oh, I shouldn't have said Trump. I'm so sorry. If there was something that could actually overcome the deterministic view, that doesn't change to me the fact that you would be the agent responsible for your actions. Now, when my lawnmower acts up, I will sometimes anthropomorphically, cuss it out.
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of those vestiges of religious behavior.
But yeah, it is. Touche. I mean, although at least I got rid of them.
I haven't seen you interact with your lawnmower yet.
But at the end, I recognize that the lawnmower is not a thinking agent, that is not making decisions. And so that difference between there is where I would inject the sort of ideas about moral responsibility. Sam Harris and I had an argument in Chicago about free will, and I was pointing out that he could walk over and step off the end of the stage, or I could pick him up and carry him and drop him off the stage, and at the end, the effect would essentially be the same. But the conflict between those.
Well, guys, I got bored. God does not exist. That is my standpoint on it. Bro, I'm just trying to see the one shit. I should click that.
And what am I calling you, by the way? What do you go by?
You can call me Paul, yeah.
Paul? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get started in just a second, okay? And Paul,
Sure.
where are you joining us from?
I'm currently in London, UK.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Feeling nervous?
Yeah, so
That man right there, he got a weird energy. That nigga's super reserved. Very laid back in a scary way, though, nigga. That were twisting, bro. Kind of scary. Nah, I gotta be stopped being judgmental. Nah, cause I'm only watching it because I find myself fucking getting into that incel shit myself, my nigga. I'm trying to get out of it myself. Like, I'm considering shit. I start a relationship, my nigga. On me, on me, on me. Yeah. I can't be everybody else. I can't be me. Watch how I grab that girl right by her, but she wanna free. I got everything. Let's get it.
So I was lined up as maybe the backup last week, so I understood that I might be getting on the show last week, but since I didn't, I had all week to sort of like ponder it and be anxious about it. Yeah.
The show,
because obviously, like, you know,
are we a show? Is that what we are?
I kind of feel like maybe that's how I rationalize it and make it seem less daunting. I don't know.
Okay. No, I mean, I think it's a good characterization. It's just I didn't realize it. So, Paul, you're joining us from the UK. I think we're live. Yay. Okay, so our hype train did something. Can you explain to me what a hype train is?
Me?
Yeah. Like, do you know what that is?
All I from I mean, the meme is it's a scam train, so all I know is Twitch's latest scam to draw more money out of people who are foolish enough to surrender it, I guess. But
Okay.
I can't say I've ever got in on one myself.
Okay. So Paul, so help us understand a little bit. So for those of you who saw an ad, I apologize, but Paul was just filling us in a little bit about how daunting it is to share your dirty laundry with the internet in front of thousands of people. Thousands of people. And I agree, man. So tell us a little bit about today.
So when I saw the page and I was playing about it, I don't.
These are dark. I mean, they are dark. What's the feel of that? Yo. Oh God, I just want to show y'all like on some like help me type shit, bro. Like, this is my YouTube's feel. Ultimate gay test, like for me. Yeah, philosophy isn't self-help. Ugh. I don't watch any like Robert. I watch myself, man. There's no way to watch myself anymore. You're lazy, not spiritual. Oh God, he real. That's for real. I don't want to do nothing. I want to watch niggas do it. So ass. Which I have. Oh fucking God, bro. I'm gonna watch these spiritual videos from a woke perspective, like from a woke perspective, from the spiritual community. We gonna see this bullshit. Realm. Fuck this shit. I'm spirituality is so different. Oh God, we just gonna watch this. We're nice guy. Like, it was fire. I was off a perk stream. Yeah, secretive. It's good written. Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now. Tell me. Yeah, that's really not either.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, $118.
So what is spirituality in a nutshell? Not seeking happiness from this world. But here's a trap I do not want you to fall down, because there's so many traps in spirituality.
This. Find ways to teach that sex is a healthy gift, and what are the parameters in which we do it in a most healthy way.
Has a grown man dealt with some of these scars as a boy, deal with it now as an adult?
I think that's what adulthood is learn to differentiate. Say, who am I, what do I want, and live that.
Bro, trying to figure out how this shit works. this shit right for us though, y'all. We gonna be right. Now we're gonna see what's the left-hand path. I'm trying to sign into my YouTube. See how easy this shit gets when I look at my left hand. Next time on the left-hand path. Let's look at my left hand when I do everything. Oh, it'll work this time, huh? So look at my left hand. Saturn controls my brain. Emma loves you. Emma loves you.
Do the happy dance, my nigga.
Tell each other over.
Indova. Klvash namova. Klva. Kalfolka. For me. What's the story, my nigga? Let's see. We're gonna watch this left-hand path shit. Get this shit working when I look at my left hand. Nah. And it's scary because my life could just be a flip, bro. All these men, bro, might just be niggas of Saturn, bro. Like, and I gotta, like, win, bro. Shit's weird.
And over till we forget that it's a lie. But what do we have left once we abandon the lie? Chaos. A gaping pit waiting to swallow us all. Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
In short, Gnosis makes you a fallen angel.
Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, is that it?
The opposite is what we're seeing today in this fraud and walk culture, where thought and speed and emotion control are worse than ever. There is that story of a Nazi after the war who was asked why the hell did he join the party in the first place.
A pitch, if you will, for yourself, and then present documents, and then they say,
Peace. This is a Meat and Potatoes Sorcery production starring myself, the Water Alchemist, and today's topic for the occult family is left-hand path versus the right-hand path. So, with that, let's get into it. Exactly what is the left-hand path? One must ask themselves, what is the right-hand path? And where exactly does this term come from? The left-hand path basically is when an individual dedicates themselves to dark or so-called black magic. That's the left-hand path. And that you are an individual that is on the path to self-deification, where you don't worship any god. You are a god within yourself. This is a view that's pervasive, although a very
Wix, one platform,
contentious the topic is, how misaligned existing definitions are, and how emotional the topic can be for some, I'm going to need to build up a bit of context. It's very difficult to keep an entirely detached attitude towards what's known as the left-hand path. Whether it's a deep attraction or a deep revulsion or even just a tentative interest, I think it'd be quite hard to find anyone with any spiritual inclination who felt nothing but indifference about it. Naturally, everything being a matter of perspective, many people following an exclusively right-hand path don't necessarily even realize that what they're following is indeed a right-hand path tradition until they discover that such a thing as a left-hand path even exists. However, I do worry that many people in the West approaching what they imagine to be the left-hand path may develop a warped idea of what the left-hand path is, based on their previous misconceptions of what the right-hand path was supposed to be. By the way, if you like my content and you'd like to support my channel, you might like to consider a membership which gives you access to the Foolish Fish Discord chat server. Alternatively, of course, hitting the like button and the subscribe and bell buttons also really help if you feel that membership's not quite for you yet. Okay, back to the content. Let me start off, maybe, by describing what the Western common misconception of what a right-hand path is, just to start building up that little bit of context I was mentioning. I don't think I'm going to surprise anyone by saying that the main tradition, which has influenced Western society over the past 1500 years, has been a state-sanctioned form of Christianity. Wherever government becomes involved with spirituality, the spiritual attainment ceases to be the focus of that tradition, and defense of an identity starts to become the whole point. And so after Constantine legalizes Christianity in the 4th century CE, we start to see Christianity less as a method for an individual approach to the divine, and more as a philosophy of good against evil, right against wrong, which naturally opens a path which is very convenient for a warring, expansionist state such as the Roman Empire, who can now say, we are good, they are bad, let's destroy them for the glory of the state-sanctioned idea of God. Of course, it doesn't take very long for that weaponized ideology to be turned internally against inconvenient members of any given society, for example, self-empowered women during the Dark and Middle Ages, who can now simply be disposed of with a simple rumor that they worship Satan. A little side note on Satan maybe, though I intend to go into a little bit more detail in a subsequent video. You may be interested to know that Satan, not to be confused with Lucifer, by the way, though that's
This no more than a bad beat talking about a topic I like. Be evil or stay single, people. Let's go.
To make that the point. The dating conversation is incredibly divisive. We have all been burned and we want someone to blame. But I hope that starting off this way will get us on the same page by feeling the same thing. Disgust. Enough of it to leave all this madness behind. The dating culture has never been more self-destructively entertaining. We have emotionally volatile people on podcasts degrading their guests for their own self-gratification. We have soft life girlies telling you how to dress, speak, and breathe elegantly to bag a provider man. We have alpha men flaunting their modern-day harems of Instagram baddies to override their innate need for emotional connection to impress other men. We have dating apps commodifying romance while profiting from your failure to find it. We have high-value dating coaches teaching you how to invest the least by getting the most out of the very person that you desire. We have trad wives
empowered women during the Dark and Middle Ages, who can now simply be disposed of with a simple rumor that they worship Satan. A little side note on Satan maybe, though I intend to go into a little bit more detail in a subsequent video. You may be interested to know that Satan, not to be confused with Lucifer by the way, though that's yes. No more. Bad beat talking about a topic I like.
influencing impressionable young women into traditional gender roles without disclosing the very common dangers of financial abuse. We have trend chasers claiming they want a traditional relationship without the resources, the values, or the skill set to qualify them for it. We have street interviewers giving immature, jaded clout chasers permission to feed into polarizing stereotypes for the sake of engagement. We have reality dating shows giving a platform to emotionally unavailable people, desensitizing us to unethical behavior by turning it into entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, we have adult...
Right now, shut up. Someone just liked me on a dating app. And Rich... Yep. Oh, wasting our time. Yeah, how about that?
Not everybody cares about quality. Some people just want crap. If that's you, Bespoke Post is not for you.
There's another one here that I wanted to show you, which is a typical dating app nightmare story. So this is a 8-minute one, but I want you to pay attention to the whole thing. So this is the gal. So this is his video of her filming him. So he took it off her TikTok, and then he tells a story about what happened over here. So just listen up real close.
As well. Yeah. So I hope this was really worth it to you. You really wasted my time and my energy today.
I hope you have a better day.
Oh, well, I was having a great day until you showed up and decided to waste my time.
Do you mind if I close my door?
I don't mind, ugly fuck.
So
He's in a Range Rover, by the way. So this guy is not broke.
yeah, I'm done dating. So last week I saw this girl on Mutual. That's the Mormon dating app, and I'm on there because, like, you know, I'd like to be with somebody with similar values, and you know, used to be maybe in the church, and so they know where I'm coming from, and I'm very upfront about like that I'm not active and all that. So anyways, I see this girl, very gorgeous. She's got like her business information and her phone number's on her profile, and she does like teeth whitening and
Okay, so let me just stop to explain this, because what a lot of women will do on dating apps is they'll have their photography, but if they're in a line of work where they can make money off you, they'll have usually like a photograph of the real estate card, or like a sale sign in somebody's lawn with their photograph, and it has their phone number on it. Or if they do, in this example, he says teeth whitening. So this chick purposely created a dating app to date, but also to make money off the simps, which this guy is a bit of, to, you know, either get a date, get a free lunch, or get paid for services. And in her case, it's teeth whitening.
esthetician stuff. So I texted her and I was like, hey, I don't know if you knew, but your phone number's in one of your photos on your dating profile. And then what did I say? I said, maybe it's intentional. I'm very interested in you. So I was thinking, if you're game, I could pay you to whiten my teeth. And then if you were attracted to me and we hit it off, I could ask you out on a date.
Okay, that, guys, don't ever do that. That's the
What
stupid.
the hell, dude?
Like, you're basically buying an opportunity to be near her and have her whiten your teeth before you can even take her out on a date. Don't do that. Just completely ignore those business cards that they put in there and just straight up message them and say, dig your vibe, let's grab a drink, let's get together, let's meet. Just very, like, right to that point. You're not there to like buy services off them, okay?
So I sent that on Wednesday. Thursday night, she texts me and she says, I'm getting evicted and I have $2,000 of rent to pay. And she put the dollar sign after. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting scammed. It's a fake.
So dude not only reaches out to her directly by text message to get his teeth whitened, he says, hi, I'm going to get my teeth whitened. You know, let's set it up. And then she comes back with not, hey, how are you? You're handsome. I like your picture. You know, that picture of you in number 3 or something like that, you know, it looks like it's at this island. I'm pretty sure I've been there. You know, that not asking questions, not engaging him. What do you do for a living? Just, hey, I'm getting evicted is her.
Are you older than 18? We're looking for motivated.
How would you categorize the state of dating advice for young people at the moment?
Terrible. It's awful. It's a treacherous landscape. It is just barren. One thing that I've been talking a lot about on the show, and I would actually love to hear your thoughts on this because we've talked about dating here and there. I just don't think my generation knows how. Like, I was never taught how to date. My first dating experiences were on dating apps, which is wild. And so I hear about young men not wanting to approach women, and obviously there's the Me Too movement. There's a lot of concerns about rejection. Women are now saying, by and large, they want to be approached, but obviously so many women are just like, oh, that's creepy, whatever. It's just very confusing. There are nuances in dating and approaching women and starting relationships that you kind of have to just learn. And my generation, I don't think we've ever had to do that. I mean, again, like I went to UCLA, was 18, but I went in as a junior. And I joined a sorority because I wanted to have like the all-American traditional experience. Wanted to do something traditional for once in my life. And right after I rushed the sorority and got in, I was sitting in a room with my big. And she was like,
Your what?
My big. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, so in Greek life, you have like bigs and littles. So I was somebody's little. So when I joined the sorority, there was somebody who had already joined a year prior.
Right.
And they like usher you in, or your mentor, your friend.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
bigs and littles.
We're
So I
on-
was with my big.
We're on the same page. Yep.
Yes. And fraternities have that as well. Anyway, I was sitting with her in her room, and they were shocked that I had never been on Tinder, that I had never dated before. They were shocked that I was a virgin. I mean, it was just like, like, this is insane. How could you? And I mean, and I found out later on, I mean, these girls had, multiple abortions and were very, very sexually and, relationship wise ahead of me. And I had not thought anything of it up until this point because I hadn't been around it, and I just kind of stayed in my own bubble. And they're like, well, you got to get on Tinder. You got to do it. And there's no hazing allowed at UCLA. There's especially not in sororities, but they kind of made a joke and they're like, you're going to be your hazing. You need to get on dating apps. This is how you're going to date. And it was so weird. The boy that I dated in college, like my college boyfriend, met on Hinge. Like that was how I dated. That's how everyone around me dated. And so when I hear, people online, when I'm reading in the comment section, like, I don't know how to approach somebody, I'm so nervous, girls not knowing how to respond.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we've completely lost that. It's not their fault. It's because they've just gone online. You're sliding into DMs, you're swiping right and left, and that's an addictive game in and of itself. And so then now we're seeing, droves of people leaving dating apps, especially with everything that like Bumble did. Bumble had a huge loss when they did their ridiculous rebrand, the most idiotic thing they've ever done. People wanting to be off the apps, but not knowing how to date outside of them. So it really is, it's abysmal for a lot of reasons, but especially that is what I've been thinking about recently.
Yeah, I had this idea of mutually assured deception, which I think is what a lot of people have. They're so scared of opening up because one of the worst things that you can be is gullible and naive in dating. There's something kind of cool about being aloof and a bit sardonic and a bit standoffish. I'm too good for this. There's no way that you could hurt me. Yeah, it's sort of easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
But I think that is just a suboptimal solution to a suboptimal problem. Like that is someone trying to reverse engineer the dating environment into their preferences as opposed to doing it the other way around. So yeah, you have two people, neither of whom are prepared to open up fully in case they get hurt, both of whom are terrified of being hurt, and both of whom just never show themselves to the other person.
Correct.
So yeah, I think that's a big concern. And then when it comes to the approaching thing and the being in real life, it's always been that way. Like the reason that the guy that founded CBT was to overcome his approach anxiety for women. That was originally what it was designed for. So this has happened for as long as time has been around. The difference now, I think, is that any small psychological challenge becomes pathologized and becomes laid at the feet of the modern world. So this is because of Tinder. This is because of online dating. It's like, what if this was just endemic to being a guy?
Yeah.
That approaching a woman is going to be scary and always going to be scary. And maybe the difference now is that you're just a bit less socially adept. You haven't spent that much more time out and about. You don't have robust social networks. You don't really know as many people, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And what it feels like from the inside is, oh my God, if only it was 50 years ago, this would have been super easy, which actually takes a lot of agency away from you, which would have been, it was going to be hard then in 1960.
It was always going to be hard.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And
the conditions
you can overcome
are
it.
different.
Correct.
The conditions are different, and you have to acknowledge that, but that should not be the reason why you turn inward. And
I was going to turn 26 and lose my mom's coverage, so I need to find my own plan.
Let's talk about the most troublesome possible thing. So that would be women. So it's very frequently the case for me that if I say anything about how young women might conduct themselves so that their lives would turn out less than dreadfully, let's say, that's when
Fuck. Oh shit, we got a cool nigga. We got them niggas there. He like
Walk up
me.
to her and say, "Hey, I noticed you from over there, and I wanted to come say hello. I wanted to introduce myself. I thought you were cute." Something super simple, just you caught my eye and I'd kick myself later if I didn't say hello. Especially attractive quality women, they are not relying on dating apps.
Nigga, let me see. Fuck this. I hate
on dating apps.
I was really conflicted about making this video because this was not but I felt strong about the topic that the actor supported my desire to comment. So this video is about 99% of features that we're talking. We focus on this interview with a coach who has, in my opinion, gotten very famous, and I don't think she's but before we do that, ground rules, guys. Number one, I'm going to focus on talking about the subject of dating advice. I'm going to discuss her ideas, and I may at times attack her ideas, but I never ever attack the person.